Hey, what's up, everybody? This is exactly what we talked about yesterday, which was looking at XRP here. We had a diagonal, right? We had one, two, three, four, five. So basically, yesterday's video, I emphasized a lot that this was some type of diagonal, some type of, or rising wedge, you can say, right? So what I was saying was we need some type of three-wave pullback. And we got it. We got the three-wave pullback. The question is it finished? Well, maybe, maybe not. I tend to think it's not finished just yet. We'll talk about it. But what I really like is, for one, this is exactly what we talked about. And number two, we got all the way back down to the backtest level. So we had resistance, resistance. We broke out, and then we came all the way back down, and now we're back testing it. So that's a good thing to see. So where could this thing possibly land? Well, if I put the Fibonacci extension up, or retracement, I should say, I'm looking for the price to get somewhere right there. So that green box there would be an interesting spot to dollar cost average. But we'll see what happens. Not financial advice. It could be also a reversal. So we don't really know until it confirms support in here, because this thing can just keep dropping, right, with pullbacks along the way. But it really depends on Bitcoin as well. So yeah, that's kind of what we have here. If this is a diagonal, right, then this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this is a 1. We're going to come down for 2, right? And usually wave 2s, sometimes they can even get pretty deep, right? A lot of times they can even come down and take out this low here at 49 cents. So something like that before taking off into a wave 3. That would be really nice to see. And then hopefully this wave 3 can get us back above the bull market support band, where we can find some support in here before continuing higher. That would be the idea. That would be the nice thing that crypto can do for us. But it ain't that way. So we have to wait and see how that works. But we'll move on to XR or Bitcoin here. We have Bitcoin really didn't even move. I mean, it really didn't even correct that much, which is a little bit concerning, because if Bitcoin or if XRP corrected that much, what's going to happen to XRP or Theta or whatever if Bitcoin gets way down in here? Something we talked about yesterday, right? For the price to pull back somewhere in that 64 or 63K area before continuing to pump. That's yet to be determined. But if this is just a local correction, then let's take a look here. Because right now it's starting to look like, some type of flat pattern here, where we had this move up yesterday, or actually on the 17th, right? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that was kind of that ending wave. And when you zoom out, that's what we were talking about all last week, was basically this being 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I said, look, we'll probably need a correction. We got 5 waves. Let's get an ABC pullback. So maybe that's what we're getting now. Definitely on XRP, I mean, it looks like it's already completed with the three-way pullback. With Bitcoin, it can be a deeper correction, which is correcting this whole move, or the third wave isn't finished, or I should say the fifth wave isn't finished, right? And this is just a wave 4 before wave 5. So let me explain that. So this to me looks like some type of potential flat pattern, right? So we have an A, we have 1, 2, 3 for B, and now we're going down for C. So A, B, C. That is an expanded flat, right? So that could be what we're getting. And we have a base down in here, and then we start to accelerate to the upside. And that would be, let's see what the retracement would be on that. Or actually I would do it from here. Yeah, right around 66K. Between 65.7K and 66K. So that would be that idea, which would basically be 1, 2. All of this is, let's see here, wait a minute. So it'd be 1, 2. This would be 3. All of this is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's wave 3, right? And then now we're developing a flat in the middle for wave 4. And then we go up for wave 5. So that's kind of what it could look like. And that would kind of make sense as well, because a lot of coins don't have that 5-wave shape quite yet, right? So then we get up here on wave 5, and then we get the ABC. So those are the two options, right? Or, okay, so option number 1, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the one I would prefer. And then we get the ABC, because then what that allows the price to do is it allows the price to get above this area right here, right? Because we're kind of stuck in here. So it would be nice for this to be a flat 4, and then we get 5. And then we come down and we back test all of this area in here. And then we go, right? That would be nice. So this whole thing would be wave 1. This thing would be wave 2. If that's one idea, right? The other idea is to say that the 5 waves is already finished. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's done. It's done. And then this is 1, 2, 3. Right here. Then we get another 1, 2, 3. And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. Where we get down in here, build a base, and then we go. So, and that would be interesting too, because that would look like a 1, 2, 1, 2. That would be actually really, really bullish. So maybe I would like that one actually better. But either way, it's fine. You know, it doesn't matter. But to me, I'm more in the camp of let's get above this rather than have to deal with this 1, 2, 1, 2. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Let's go up a little bit higher. Let's take this off and redraw it here with this resistance in here. And we have some type of trend line, right? Actually, let me do it with an actual trend line instead of drawing it. Something like that. So I don't, it's a pretty steep trend line, so I don't know about that. But essentially, we come down here, we tag it, and then we continue higher. So that's the idea. And, going back to XRP, this is really exactly what we've been talking about yesterday. I mean, to the exact T. Now, this thing could get ugly, right? I mean, it could get, if we don't hold support in this green box, then it's still a diagonal, but it's more of a reversal, right? Instead of something that's, going to lead into something else. So for the price of theta, what Bitcoin count would actually complement the price of theta? Well, we talked about 2 ideas. So which idea would be better for theta? Well, this idea here, 1, 2, all of this is 3, this is 4, and then we get 5. something like that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's for Bitcoin, right? So then when we look at theta, you could see we only have 3 waves. We have 1, 2, 3. But where's 5 at, right? Well, we're getting 4. Something else we talked about yesterday, which is getting an ABC for theta, right? Because, you know, one of the big things was we want to get 5 waves for the price of theta. Well, so far we only have 3. So that's kind of the tough spot, right? Is this an ABC, or is this a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to get 5? That is what we want. This right here is the moment of truth. That's why I keep saying, like, this is the biggest point where everybody should be paying attention, because this is where we either make it or break it. We are right at that brink of total explosiveness or total destruction. So, you know, we're at a very big area here. So what happens between now and I would say Tuesday is going to set the course of history, really. Because if this thing, you know, is 3 waves, 1, 2, 3, and now we're going down again, we're not going to hold the low, I don't think. We might be able to, but, you know, we tested it once, we tested it again, we tested it again. If we come down and we test it again while making lower lows, then it's looking like a descending triangle, right? Where we're most likely going to dump. So that's why we need to get the hell out of there before this weight, right? We have this weight on our shoulders right here. This is a big weight that's on our shoulders. We need to get rid of that weight. So we're not completely out of the woods yet. So if I put a few lines up here, I mean, you can say technically we still have to get above, right? If I draw a line here, we're back below the line, right? So, you know, we got some work to do to get us back above. Let's actually go to the daily chart. Now you could say on the daily chart we did break above it. I do like how these were equal highs, right? It wasn't so much of a lower high. I mean, technically it is a lower high, but it's pretty equal, which is a good sign. If I put a downward resistance line, you can see obviously we broke that, right? From that perspective. So we could come down, A, B, C, back test. As long as we don't, you know, get so far down here, I say we're still pretty good. But a little correction down in here, like a 618 retrace, that is fine. So let's look at that. Let's go to the 1 hour chart, and you can see, by the way, you can see this is looking like a nice ABC here. So it looks like 1, 2, and 3, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and now we have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, and then we get 5. So that's kind of what I would like to see, something like that. Now if I measure it, it could be a lot deeper. Let's see, because we're still, I mean, we're not even at the 50 yet. I mean, this thing could have a lot more downside to go, is what I'm saying. So anywhere between here and here is the target area for theta in this correction. So that's kind of where we are with the price of theta. That yellow box is going to determine, are we going to make it or break it? So it all comes, really, the price of theta is all going to come down to that yellow box. So that's why this is a very important time to be paying attention to what crypto is doing. So that's where we are on the price of theta. And what I would like about this is it doesn't necessarily, if this is a third wave, it doesn't necessarily have to come that deep, right? It could already be done now, but what I would like to see is a 1, 2, 3. This is 4, and we need that fifth wave. This is the wave we really, really want. This wave. I mean, that's it right there. We got to have that. Because we know the third wave is done, right? If it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't even really. The problem with it as well, the thing that I don't like is the first wave, because it's only 3 waves. We have 1, 2, 3, so it looks to me like this is an A, B, C, right? More than a 1, 2, 3. So that's the problem that I see. But it can, we are making corrective structures because we're in a correction. So, but it can turn into something bigger. We just have to wait and see. But this is a very critical spot for the price of crypto. So let's look at total 3. Now total 3, we got, we broke out of that longer term downward resistance line, which is good. We got the breakout of that line. So now what's even more important than this line is getting above all of this in here. So, traders are having a field day. They buy the support, sell, buy, sell, right? But this one, it didn't come all the way back down. What it did is it actually came 50% here, right? So that tells me this is probably part of a bigger move, which means it's probably not finished, you would think. We came up here, we had a higher low for a reason, right? 1, 2, 3. So to me, is this part of something that's going to break us out of here, right? Which this whole thing would be 1, 2, 3, get us up here. It sure looks like it. And then, we get rejected by the retracement level. We have a 3-way pullback. And what you have here is now a 1, 2, 1, 2, which would be very, very nice to see. So it's kind of like a waiting situation. I can't really give any more answers. Let's see. Let's zoom in and see if we can find anything here on the smaller time frame. The same thing as theta. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have an ABC. So is the ABC going to turn into something bigger like this? Or is it going to get extended like this? Sundays are very tough because you don't know how things are going to react for the weekly close. Which brings me to the second part of our video, which is the weekly close, which is really not that helpful. So let's look at the weekly close. So the weekly close, look at this. We had red, green, red, green, red, green. Come on. That's just too interesting. Right? So I like that because you can say, well, that's not good because the next week should be red. Well, statistically speaking, what is the probability of us getting another red candle, right? We've already had red, green, red, green, red, green. It can't keep doing that, right? So I'm hoping we get another green candle to break it, right? To break that rhythm that we got here. So when I zoom in on these candles, we're kind of stuck here. I would have really loved to see a weekly candle close above that line. But if we can't get that, then at least close above this line over here, which is about 660 billion or so. So we're about $10 billion away. So if I go to the 1 hour, those are the two lines I'd like to see us get above. So, but yeah, well, it looks like we're getting rejected. It looks like, we're coming down further. So what I would have, yesterday I think I said I would like to hold this area, and then coincidentally, right, we this is the area we actually want to hold, right? This is actually the resistance here, and we broke out of the resistance, right? And now we're coming down to retest it, but it wasn't a really good breakout. And the problem is you have this guy over here, right? So if you drag that across, it's just another range, and this was actually a lower high. So you can see the head and shoulders in here. So yeah, let's flip the chart upside down. Let's see what it looks like upside down. When I look at it upside down, it actually looks bearish, which is actually good, which means, it kind of looks like it needs to do this. So when it kind of has that head and shoulders look to it. So when I do that, when I flip it back right side up, it kind of looks like that. That's just eyeballing it, kind of what it looks like to me. So let's go back to Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, we got a dump here. Let's see, 5-minute chart. Yeah, this is, and the way this came up, right? We had a nice impulse here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then see how it was chopping, right? That chop could lead to a big breakout, but you have to kind of wait for it. And what happened was it got more complex. So instead of this being A, B, C, it gave us a bigger B wave, which came down, and then it chopped. It actually broke the top, but that's how you knew it was fake, right? That's how you knew it was an expanded flat or some type of flat. Is if you have a wave, right, and it stops, you pull back, and then the second or the following wave trying to break this wave is real choppy and corrective, chances are that's what it is. So it comes up, it takes out all this liquidity up here, and then bam, they short it. So this is a nice 3-wave B wave. This was A, and now we're coming down in C. And usually C waves are very fast and furious. So yeah, that's where we are here. So when you zoom out a little bit, it kind of looks like a normal situation. Now, what we don't know is, like those two counts we just said, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or I'm sorry, is this 1, 2, 1, 2? All of this is 3. We're in the middle of wave 4, and then we get 5. Or is the 5th wave done and we have a bigger ABC down in here? That's kind of what I'm waiting for, to see what that's going to turn into. So we'll look at the weekly chart now on Bitcoin. This is the big boy right here. Let's take a look at it. The macro structure still is looking really good. It's looking really good, like it wants to break it sooner or later. So the best thing about this week is the weekly engulfing Bitcoin candle, because number one, we're closing above the bullish hammer candle, which is this candle right here. To me, one of the most important candles in this correction. It gave us the back test of the bull market support band. So I'll put that line right there. And I'll zoom out. I'll expand it to make sure it's pretty close. And then we also have this area here and this area here. And it looks like we're hopefully going to close above all of it. Now we got 4 hours of recording this video. So I think the big goal here is to close no less than 66K, hopefully. So when I go to the 1 hour, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big engulfing candle right there. And that might be where we're going too, is to fill, you know, to come down here and retest some of this in here. So as long as we close above all these lines, I'd say we're still looking pretty good as for the weekly close. So XRP just crossed the 50. Let's see what happens when we get down here to the 618. Yeah, I really want to see support get held in here and then us reverse out of here. Otherwise, we're going to break the low and then it's not going to be good because like I've been saying, we're at this very, very critical spot where if we don't get the hell out of here, then we're going to risk breaking down, which is okay. It's just going to delay a lot more time, which basically means this is 1, 2, 3. This is a fourth wave, and now we're getting 5. And then we're going to be way the hell down here before we go up. So we'll see about that. The weekly chart on XRP looks absolutely terrible. Just like always, it looks terrible like always. I mean, XRP has just been terrible, really, as far as price action. And it makes you think, like, if XRP is the only one with regulatory clarity, then why the hell is it terrible as far as price goes? I mean, I'm still holding it. I still believe in the future of XRP because when you zoom out, I mean, we are in this area, I would imagine, and waiting for this, right? Waiting for this, which is basically an extension of this retrace here, right? So everything's lining up. It's just taking so dang long. I mean, it's just taking a long time. But that's just the way it is. I think a lot of people are waiting for the lawsuit. But to me, it's like, you know, if I was a millionaire or something, and I was following the Ripple lawsuit, I would have some pretty good inside knowledge that they have good capabilities of winning, which means I would place my bet before the lawsuit was finalized. And that's what I think a lot of people would do, right? Why would you wait till after it's complete? After it's complete, that's the time when you want to sell it, right? So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But the big thing with XRP is it comes down to two things. Either this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, we have that complex B in the middle. And now we're getting C, which would basically mean we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to get down here, right? Which is actually would overshoot that wave, really. Because we already had a 786 retracement on this whole wave. So I just can't see us going any lower. Of course, Bitcoin rules the show on that. The other idea is to say that it's done, and this was nothing more than a W, X, and a Y. Some type of flat in here. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, or W, X, Y, right? We're building a base in here, and now we're about to go. That's kind of how I like to see it. So it's really an interesting point in history for XRP and all of crypto, basically waiting on how this reaccumulation area gets resolved, because that's what it was like back in 2017, where we have this deviation or this liquidity grab, right? And if you fast forward today, and what we can see today, it's the same exact thing, right? We have this deviation here. So, I mean, all of the support is being held just like last time, and we grab that liquidity like last time. The question I have is that finished? Is that what it needs, or does it need a little bit more before it goes? I don't know. That's a tough call. If I had to guess, the way it's holding up here, it's holding up pretty strong. But the more weeks, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, going on 7 weeks, basically just resting here. So it can really go either way. Either the resistance is getting weak or the support's getting weak. But you know, when volatility slows down like this, right? When volatility slows down, something big happens, right? So there's a fractal there, and I can show you this back over here. Now this time, right, we were above the bull market support band, but still, right, XRP likes to come down and it just likes to rest and sit there and torture you for a while. But I have to tell you, if I knew, right, all of this was going to happen, I would have never been in XRP. I would have been in other assets. Because when we were going in the last bull run, we only had a retracement. I said, okay, it's most likely going to go down into a reaccumulation and go sideways. So I didn't sell it, right? I did take profits on some of my trades in here. But my HODL position, I didn't sell it. I basically just added a lot down in here. I didn't think it would drag on this long, but you know, whatever. I'm already invested. I'm just basically I'm just waiting to see how this is going to play out. If we break this low, I would still be in profit, because most of my buys were right through here and on this line right here. This was where most of my buys took place, and a little bit here and quite a bit in here. So my average price entry, I have to do some calculations, but we'll find out. And if we did break that low, then it's most likely 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, go. So a big 3-way move and then go. Ethereum, or I'm sorry, total 3 weekly chart. We already looked at that. Looks good. Ethereum weekly chart. Still, you know, decent structure there. It's holding. So this is the big one here, is the DXY. The problem with the DXY is we had a 3-way move right off the bull market support band. So hopefully the bull market support band doesn't fare with the DXY, right? So this is the dollar. We want the dollar to crash and burn, right? Because that's the only way crypto is going to benefit. And just because it goes down doesn't really reflect anything based off the dollars you hold, because it's all relative strength compared to other currencies. So I like this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an ABC pullback. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get an ABC pullback and then continue down in that third wave. We have wave 4, and then we come down wave 5. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be very nice to see. That would be very nice to see. And maybe they might say, because we're in election year, maybe they might say something political. Say like, oh, look, the dollar's dumping. Do you really want that for your president, right? Some baloney that they'll spit out, which has nothing to do with the president, right? The economy has really little effect of what the president does. The economy is based off money, and money is based off central banks, and central banks are based off debt, lies, and corruption. So we're basically a house of cards. The reason why it hasn't fallen is because the house of cards is built out of steel. And when I mean steel tanks, right? Steel bullets. Yeah, that's kind of how I would like to see the DXY there. I thought this clip was very interesting, him talking about a mortgage. When you buy a house, you have a mortgage. Well, what does morgue mean? Morgue means dead, like the morgue, right? Where the morgue is where dead bodies are. I mean, they're literally telling you, they're rubbing it in your face when you buy it, when you have a mortgage, right? The lender or the borrower is subservient to the lender, which means who's the lender? The central banks. Who's the borrower? The government, which means the government is a servant to the central banks. So you have the banks at the very, very top. You have the government below that. And then you have the corporations. And then you have all the slaves like me and you, right? That's why we buy crypto. That's the whole point of crypto, is this right here.
It is very clear that the head of the snake is the financial system. The whole point of finance is to indebt, otherwise to enslave. What is a mortgage? I mean, what does that stand for? It's a death grip. So when you get a mortgage, you have a death grip held over you because you are in debt. You don't even own the house. The bank owns the house that loans you the money to buy the house, unless you're fortunate enough to have all the money to buy it outright. And even then, you can be taxed by the government, and if you fail to keep up with those taxes, the government can then take it from you. The whole system is based on a financial fraud, which effectively takes the power that we have and it gives it to a tiny group of individuals who are running the world through the control of finance. With the infinite supply of money that we have allowed them to take, they have literally an infinite supply of money, and with that money, and from their psychopathic point of view, they have bought everything and everyone who can be bought. So those of us who cannot be bought because we operate on a level that goes way beyond the material, we are not rewarded for such behavior, we are punished for such behavior. And the most slovenly, disgustingly criminal, pedophilia, corrupt moral individuals, those are the ones that are rewarded in this system, which is upside down. We reward the pedophiles, we reward the corrupt, we reward the liars, we reward the people with no morals at all.
Okay, so I worked at the IRS for 7.5 years, thought I was doing my duty, but there's a lot of dynamics that happened over the time. I started seeing things, and one of the things I started to see was that little Joe Blow mom and pop businesses were getting slammed. So then, a month later, I'm auditing a larger business, a partnership or a corporation, and they owe $300,000, right? And I turn in the report. But they have attorneys and CPAs that come in and make deals with the IRS attorneys and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, their $300,000 turns into only $25,000. So I didn't think that was fair at all on any different level.
Is an American required to file income tax returns? Yes or no?
Well, myself and other researchers have not found a law that requires most Americans that live and work in the 50 states to file an income tax return or to pay an income tax. Now, the income tax, as it stands, has been misrepresented and misapplied to the American people. Title 27 is the excise tax code, and it tells you what kind of tax, who must file, and the calculation of it. Title 26, on the other hand, talks about you have to pay tax on your taxable income. And we found that the definition of income is corporate profits. So let me give you a good example so you can break it down. If I come and cut your grass, I'm using my arms, my legs, and my brain to cut your grass, and you give me $100. We consider that an even exchange because I used my time, talent, and my energies to cut your grass, and in exchange, you gave me $100. So we're paying tax on 100% of our labor, and that is slavery.
The idiot tax is back in effect. Yeah, some people call it inflation. We know that the inflation is way higher than 8.9%. They're just blowing smoke up our you-know-whats. But I want to say this. The stupid tax, that 8.9%, applies only to stupid people. Are you a stupid person? The stupid tax only applies to people who are holding cash. If you have US dollars or, in your own country, if you're under inflation too, which most countries are under high inflation right now, you get charged the stupid tax if you're holding cash. So don't hold cash. Hold something else.
Exactly. Hold something else. And what options do we have? Well, we have silver. Silver's breaking out. I've been accumulating silver since about 2017, 2018 in there. I recently stopped, probably 2020. I think around C19. After that happened, we had big premiums. So the price of silver was dirt cheap, but the premium on the coin was ridiculous. So, what other option? Well, we got gold. Gold's kind of expensive, but it's definitely necessary. I'd rather have silver than gold for sure. If you're going to buy precious metals, go with silver 100%. 100%. Just kind of like the same thing with Theta fuel, right? Think about Theta as being gold and Theta fuel being silver. Well, Theta is leading, right? But Theta fuel has much more percentage potential to go. So yeah, I say crypto is the answer to what everything has been said here. So I like this video. If you want to watch the whole thing, I posted it on my Twitter, or you can go to this guy's handle here, at Loudmouth Grant, and you can take a look at it. But yeah, very, very good thing to be awakened about this ridiculous central banking system we live in. And when times are tough, when things are boring, when price is not doing what you think, even though pretty much nailed the last 24 to 48 hours on that ABC. But I'm talking about the whole thing. When price is kind of like, it's just not doing what you think. Always remember why you hold crypto in the first place. So my favorite documentary is actually called Money Masters. It's on YouTube. So check that out. I'll drop it in the comment section. So, yeah, that's basically this whole video. Just wanted to give a little update here. Let's take a look at Theta Fuel before we wrap it up. Theta Fuel, really not interesting. Still in the same spot as before. Let's see. Let's zoom in a little bit. So for Theta Fuel, this is the moment where it needs to turn around, right? Because we have A, B, C, right? We have this move up, and then we have another A, B, C, right? This is a running flat, 1, 2, and now hopefully this is 1 of the third, 2, and now we need to get that 3, 4, 5, or it's going to come down to the bull market support band and then reset itself and either decide from there. Let's take a look at where we are on the Fibonacci here. So we're about at the 50, so we do have some room, right? So if I'm looking at Theta Fuel, I would look right around there. So right about there would be a good spot for us to start turning around. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this update. If you did, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and always drop a comment, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.